Hello, happy Halloween. Oh, don't worry, I'm not drinking wine in the shop. I would never do that. That's a safety hassle. No, this is blood. Anyway, you might remember last year I made a video showing off my homemade Apprehension Engine, which is just a bunch of weird stuff glued onto a surface of this box. And there is a piezo element on the inside, right there. And here is a sound clip if you haven't seen the video. Anyway, I have a bunch of these little toy pianos. And this one doesn't really cut it because it has too much of a sound from the actual key. The great thing about these Apprehension engines is that you can just take everything that you've glued on top of it off, and then you can glue on something else. And I've had this configurations for a couple of years now, and so I think I'm gonna rethink the whole idea, and I'm gonna put the parts in the piano inside this. And I think that can make some cool horror music sound like experiments. So that's what we're gonna do now, and it's gonna be awesome. Okay, so what we're gonna start off by doing is we're gonna remove all these parts. And some of them are gonna come off real easy. And some are not gonna come off that easy. This is just a spoon. Okay, so the top is all neat and clean now. I mean, not neat because there's a bunch of marks, but that's the good part about not gluing things on too much and just having them easily like drilled in or something like that. Next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna fill all these holes with epoxy clay and leave it to dry. And then we're gonna continue after that and make a better inside. Okay? But first, or rather the first thing you're gonna see, because it's not gonna be the first thing I do, but next thing for you is I'm gonna take apart the toy piano that I have over here. So, for you guys, let's do that. Okay, so here is the kids' piano. And let's start by taking out some screws and see what happens. And here you can see all the hammers. I don't know what I'm doing. Anyway, let's see. Oh, there are 2 screws here on the other side as well. One over here and this. And one over here. And then yeah, we can just lift the whole thing out. Okay. In here are the actual metal pins. Cool. Kind of sounds nice. I hope this will become worthwhile. I don't know if you can see this, but there's a lot of rust on it. And so, I think that before I continue, I'm just gonna spray some rust removal and leave this for maybe half an hour. And let it do its work and see what happens. So yeah, I'll be back pretty soon. Okay, so now I've cut these pieces out, and I'm just gonna take some wood glue like this, and I'm just gonna put it in the corner like this and put a clamp on to hold it in place. And I'm just gonna do that to all the corners, just like this. Okay, so now while everything is drying, I've cut out a flat piece of plywood, and I'm just gonna spray paint one of the sides with black paint. See you in a bit. Okay, so while we wait for some things to dry, I'm gonna paint the inside of this lid black. And the reason why I'm not spray painting is because I know I just said that I was going to spray paint, is because then I will have to do a bunch of masking, and I don't want to do any masking. So I'm just gonna coat this with some paint, and it will look all good and nice. It will work just fine. We don't need to make this any harder for ourselves than it already is. So we're just gonna put some regular black paint on here and coat the entire inside of this lid. Just trying to cover the entire area with an even thick black coat. Then also the edges. And I'm doing a kind of messy job, but that's because this whole thing is a horror thing. So if it turns out to not be perfect, it doesn't really matter, because this is for horror. And horror is always messy. We might even paint some like fake blood stains or something on it. Or I don't know, sacrifice a virgin maybe. You know, just to make it look a little bit gory. I'm not going to paint the inside because, well, you'll see soon enough that it doesn't really matter what color the inside of the box has. So I'm just going to paint this border, or the lip, or whatever you want to call it, just the upper part, just because I got so much paint on the edge. You'll understand when you see the lid that I've made for the inside. Something like that, I think. And I'll just wait for it to dry. Okay, so now to just even out the epoxy clay on top of the box, I'm just going to take a plane and I'm just going to slowly move across it to even everything out. So now we can paint the top black so that it doesn't look so horrible. Okay, so here's the back side of the top, and now I'm just going to put a dab of hot glue down and press on the piezo element, just like that. And I'm just going to leave it to dry for a little bit. The reason why I use hot glue is because if I need to replace this, I can basically just come in with something like a chisel or something like a knife or something and just pop it off without any issues. So we're just going to leave it like this for a couple of seconds. Okay, so now that the piezo element has dried, I can just flip this around and put it into place, like so. Now we're just gonna take an awl and mark where we're gonna drill some pilot holes. There's a pilot hole over there and a pilot hole over here. And now we're gonna drill these holes. Okay, so now we can attach this with screws. Just trying to align the pre-drilled hole. Something like that. And then we'll just bend these up a little bit so that they don't touch and become easier to play. You don't need to bend them a lot, just enough so that they aren't touching the top. And we can adjust this so that they work perfectly for us to however we feel. So I'm gonna bend them right now, and then I'm gonna play it for you guys, and then I might go back and re-bend them until I am perfectly satisfied with how they are. And I think, but this is just a speculation, that the longer ones will move more, so they need more to be bent further up, and the ones that are shorter won't have as much movement, and so they might not need to be bent as high up. But I am basing that on nothing. So something like that, and now we can clean it off and we can close it up, and we don't have to worry about it getting dusty and things like that. So yeah, let's go plug it in and play it. Well, thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video and that you're having a fun Halloween, and that you're out there trick-or-treating or something else if you're a little bit older. No, it doesn't even look like real blood. Oh, all those poor souls lost. Oh well. Until next time, stay awesome and cool, and I'll see you in the next video. Happy Halloween. Bye bye.